Good day. This is Greg Ayler with Texas Hills Realty on the Texas Hills Realty Talk Show. We're located at 502 East Main in Fredericksburg, or the northeast corner of Main and Elk, at the red and black 1931 Model A Ford pickup some of you might have seen as you've driven by. Call us if you need at 830-997-6123 or email us at info@txhillsrealty.com. Or you can go to our website at www.txhillsrealty.com. We like to do a little real estate show, discuss some things, and if you have questions out there, don't be afraid to be in touch. Let us know, and we will take a look at the questions we receive during the week and try to address them each Saturday as we go into a discussion about real estate. At TX Hills Realty, we have 4 agents now. We have Joe Kostelski, who, by the way, is here today. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for having me here.
I have Andrew Harvey, Phil Fry, Malin Williams, and a special IT person, Jared Klippel. Our motto is we help natives sell and Auslanders become natives. Before I get started today, I wanted to offer our deepest condolences to the Fritz family. I understand that Norbert passed away this past Monday, and he was certainly a fixture in these parts. He was a big contributor, big part of the community here for many years. I believe he was approximately 95, and bless his heart, bless his families. He will be somebody who will be missed. I know that Halloween is over now, but from time to time, there's still some scary things out there. There's still some scary things in Texas real estate. And what I thought I might do is address some of those things today, maybe give you some ideas about how to overcome those. One of them would be finding a realtor you can trust. What do you do? How do you locate that realtor? And I want to say there's a number of ways, especially you who are coming to town or those of you who have never bought real estate before. How do you find a realtor? Look around. Look for signs. Look for offices. Look for ads in the paper. Look for magazine ads. Look online. A lot of people go there. Don't just stop at the first name you see or the one that's got a whole lot of information on there, but look around and see what seems to fit your own personality, what seems to fit your need. Real estate agents are just like anybody else. Each one has their strong suits and suits that may not be so strong, and you need to know how those match up with you. Once you do that, why don't you pick 3-4 agents that you think would best fit your style and personality and your need, and go talk to them. Won't cost you a red cent, or it shouldn't. If it does, let me know. But just go talk to them and see how their personality, their education, and their experience fits what you need to help you with either a sale or to purchase some property. And again, some of these agents do have a definite, different set of skills. So it may not always be the same guy for everything. But if you get comfortable with their style of work, I urge you to hang in there with them. On the selling side, most people will, once they're comfortable with somebody, sign a listing agreement. That is the agreement between you and that realtor, and it spells out the terms of which some of your property might be sold. That's an important document. On the buying side, you might want to hire a buyer's agent. Now, typically, that buyer's agent would be paid a commission upon the sale, and that commission would come from the seller. Doesn't have to. Commissions can be paid by either side, and sometimes they're shared. But for the most part, the seller will pay the commission. So essentially, and I have to kind of close one eye a little bit, essentially the seller pays the commission. Those are some of the things you might want to look for. Another one of the scary facts would be not understanding the buying process or the selling process if you're on the other side of the ball. With that buying process, for those of you who haven't been through it, there's a few things to be involved with there. A few things, the information is going to need to be disclosed to the realtor. You always want to disclose the circumstances on a house. On the buying side, you're going to want to know some things about the finance situation. So we're going to go into those in a little more detail in the upcoming. I'm going to list some of the things that might be scary to people as they enter the real estate world. I mentioned finding a realtor you can trust. That might be scary for those who've never done it. How about not understanding the buying process? How about buying your first home? or getting your first loan? How about signing all that paperwork? And gosh, I mean, there's a mountain of paperwork, especially if you're going to get a loan or a mortgage to help you purchase a property. What about committing to a 30-year loan? Take whatever age you're at now, add 30 to it, and if you pay that loan out, that's a long time. You might want to discuss that with somebody who's been through the ropes on that. Moving, that can be quite scary. There's packing, there's terminating utilities on one end, maybe signing up utilities on the other, wherever you're moving to. And so in either case, moving could be a big one in there. There could be another one. How about overpaying or underpricing the property you're looking at? Those were some of the things I've noticed that are sort of scary. I have with me today Joe Kostelski. Joe, are you seeing some things out there that people are a little bit nervous or anxious about?
To the question, Greg, it's a good one. There are a lot of concerns that people have that I guess you can put it into the scary category at this point. Number one, a lot of people have an emotional tie to their home, especially if they've lived in it for a long time. Sometimes it's hard to break those bonds and move on to something else and start a new chapter in their life. So people want to make sure that there's a process set in place that will actually have them take steps to be able to leave it in an orderly manner. A lot of times they're tied into the neighborhood. It's hard to leave friends. It's hard to leave maybe family. It's hard to leave that local grocery store that you're comfortable in shopping at to go somewhere else. So a realtor can help you through a lot of those things. Another thing is just the process of doing it too. Leaving one place and going to another place means that you're going to have to establish new friendships. You're going to have to establish new places to do business. There's also a lot of paperwork that's involved in it too, and a realtor can help you through all those things too. And familiarizing yourself with a new neighborhood, or with a buyer, for example, or with a seller, helping them through the process and everything that they need to do essentially to cut a lot of ties, meaning help them in or reminding them to notify friends and family that you're moving. Also, you've done a lot of business with people in your local neighborhood. For example, have you thought about changing doctors, dentists? What about carrying your medical records with you? What about service providers that you had to deal with, including utilities, banks? They'll also need to be notified of your change of address and ways to get in contact with you. Sometimes maybe it may involve not just a change of address, but also a telephone number.
Again, this is Greg Ayler with Texas Hills Realty. I'm doing the Realty Talk Show today with Joe Kostelski, and I have Jared Klimple with me. And we've been talking about scary things that happen in real estate. Gosh, Halloween is over, but there were still some scary things. And, you know, Joe, I can't get over the fact how scared I was when I bought my first home. This was a few years ago. It was about 77 or 1978, somewhere in there. I hate to admit that, but it's been a few years ago. And I have to sort of set the table here just a little bit, Joe. I was renting a home from my mother-in-law and father-in-law for $150 a month, sweating bullets, making sure I would come up with some way to pay that $150 a month. When I noticed the realtor come and measure the house next door, it was the biggest realtor in all of town at that time. He had advertising out for 23 miles out from the town I lived in. I was scared to death. But I went and started talking to him, developed a dialogue, and I did some calculations. I was a mortgage loan officer at the time, dealing in mortgage loans all the time for my career. And I took a look at it, and it would cause me to increase my monthly outgo all the way from $150 a month to $196 a month. I sweated bullets. How was it when you bought your first home? Did you have any anxieties or frights?
Greg, man, you you wouldn't believe. And first of all, let me thank you for reminding us what it was like back in the dinosaur age when you bought your house. But I wasn't too far behind you. I bought my first house in 1981, just about the time I was getting married, and I was absolutely frightened to death. Number one was a 30-year commitment. I was worried just about being married and trying to make a good marriage, much less having to worry about making a 30-year commitment to the house. And that time, the interest rates just scared the holy heck out of me because they were extremely high at that point in time. And we started dealing with some financing options that I had absolutely nothing and no knowledge about. So I'm a type of person who reads all the paperwork too. And the more and more I read the paperwork, the more scared I became too. So in 1981, my wife and I did acquire acquire our first home. We made it through it, and it actually has worked out through several other purchases since then. I think everyone keeps getting easier and easier, and I think we have a lot of that experience now that we can help a lot of other people through it.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. We're still talking about some of the scary things. One of them for me was buying that first home. One of them that I mentioned a little bit earlier today on the show was finding a realtor that you can trust, and we discussed several ways that you may be able to do that. I want to give you a website now people can go on to. It's the Texas Real Estate Commission website at www.trec.texas.gov. www.trec.texas.gov. So when you have those 3 or 4 realtors that you want to talk to, you can go online, go to the website there, and see that they're legitimate realtors. You can look at the education that they've had. And I want to take just a moment to tell you that about the education. When you go on there and you see 5 or 6 lines of education, the courses that realtor has taken, that might tell you that they don't value the education a whole lot or that they're relatively new. You can see some that have several pages full of education. They're keeping up with their MCEs, or mandatory continuing education classes. You might look at what sort of classes they're taking. Are they all taking strictly agricultural and land, or are they taking some with residential, something that applies to your particular circumstances? It's just another way of getting to know your realtor a little bit. If there was any discipline problems with the realtor, they'll also be listed there. TREC keeps a pretty tight rein. And by the way, when I say TREC, I'm talking about the Texas Real Estate Commission, TREC for short. Now that you've picked a realtor, a little further down the road, have them explain the logic. You're trying to buy a home or you're trying to sell a property, and they tell you it's worth X dollars. What kind of logic did they get to? Did they just say, well, based on my experience? Or did they base it on one of the most reliable factors out there? They went to the market, they looked up existing sales, and they found those most similar to the property you're interested in. And based on those sales, they tried to apply what the market has done on those sales to your situation. I'd rather that people see the truth then, rather than a realtor who is just doing whatever he can do to get the listing. I think that helps them make a good, sound decision. Now, you don't have to list at what that realtor says. If you think it's higher, go for it. It's just that realtor has some experience, and he's using the best information available. So I urge you to listen to the realtor. I see that sometimes people don't, and I see a listing staying out there forever. It just doesn't seem to move. So I want you to listen to that realtor once he's giving you some information. A good broker can also help locate financing. And I want to say, use local financing when you can. We've seen so many problems when somebody comes to town, they want to buy something, and they say, oh, I've got a buddy or I've got an internet lender from out of town. Let me use them as our source. People out there, I would recommend that you not do that. I'm about to run out of time today, Joe. I'm glad you came. This is a little different experience up here. Jared, thank you for your help. I want to say again that this is the Texas Hills Realty Talk Show. If you want to find us, we're located at 502 East Main in Fredericksburg. Most people recognize that red and black red truck out front of our office. You can call us at 830-997-6123 or email to info@txhillsrealty.com or go to our website at www.txhillsrealty.com.